Hello and welcome to HEROGEEK Presents, where we talk all things heroic. And today I am here with a very good friend of mine, Paula Richey, to talk about her book. How's it going?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Having a good day. So me and Paula have been buddies on Twitter for a while now, I would say, right? And she recently came out with a book, a YA book called Penance, right? And it's part of a series of like young adult superhero books, right?
Right. Well, my publisher has come out with a shared universe called Heroes Unleashed.
Mhm.
That's a whole superhero universe, and each author working in it gets their own series that they're working on. And mine is the first young adult book in it.
Mhm.
But there's something for everyone
Mhm.
in this universe. It's kind of like the Marvel universe where there's all different kinds of stories. There's room for everything in it. Let's see, mine has aliens and electromagnetic powers and cyborgs and more aliens and
All right.
lots of leaning more into the science fiction side. And, some of the other ones are more, they lean into more fantasy. Some of
Mhm.
them lean into more uh, military sci-fi, like Ben Chia's series. And there's one series that's more like a spy thriller.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's something for everybody. It's really
So
awesome.
so does your book kick off the whole series then?
Oh, not really. The kickoff book is called Heroes Fall, and that's
Mhm.
by Morgan Newquist. And it's a really good book. It's not really billed as YA, but I wouldn't worry about giving it to any teenagers.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
but
Sounds great.
it's a really good, solid superhero story. And my character Penance actually has a small guest appearance, like a little Easter egg in it.
Okay. Got it. Now, is this your first foray into superheroes?
Pretty much,
Mm-hmm.
these are characters that I've carried around with me for a very long time, and I'm so thrilled to have a universe to put them in. But yeah, these are my all my superheroes.
That's great. That's great. And so when did the book come out?
And it came out at the end of February this
Okay.
year. It was supposed to come out earlier, but there were issues. The entirety of last year was insane, and it just caused a lot of problems. So I'm really excited to have it released this year. I've been waiting, it seems like forever. I'm just so thrilled. I can't believe it's really out there
That's
and people are
great.
really reading it. And
So is this going to be the only book in the series you're going to write, or do they want you to write more?
um, I kind of thought that the story arc that I had in mind had it would stretch for about a book,
Mm-hmm.
but I hadn't actually written a novel before.
Mm-hmm.
So I got over 200 pages in and I said, "Oh no, there's
Still a
I
lot
have three
more.
times as much as this."
Yeah.
I had to stop at a point that was a little earlier than I expected, and I've got at least two more books
Wow. So
in it.
you have a trilogy then.
It should be, yeah. I have
That's that's
three
awesome.
major events, and I thought that they were all going to go in one book, but no.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, a trilogy is great. I love trilogies. I mean, it's just Star Wars and Lord of the
I,
Rings and trilogies are kind of like big. I love that.
I really love having the beginning phase, the middle, and the end.
Hmm.
It's very classic.
Yeah, very
It feels
classic.
right, and I'm very happy that my book actually is going to end up long enough to take up three.
That's
It's
great. Now, are there any plans for like audio
uh,
books based on the
there's no
series?
plans yet,
Hmm.
but I would really like to see. I'd really like to hear some
Hmm.
audiobooks.
Now,
Um,
yeah, another good idea would be maybe adapting these into graphic novels would be really cool too.
yeah, it's still really early though.
Hmm.
So I can't say whether that'll happen or not.
Yeah.
But if the whole series, if the Heroes Unleashed universe continues to do really well, and if my book continues to do well, then it could happen.
All
So
right, that is
I'm excited for
amazing.
the future.
Yeah. So one of the things I like to talk about on this show is like heroes and what makes your character or what makes your story a heroic story. So why don't you tell me about Penance and the character and the story and why it's a hero story?
Okay. Well, Penance does not start off very heroic. She's just trying to survive. So she's been working for Acid, her boss, her as long as she can remember, and he's been exploiting her powers. He's been sending her off to steal to crack electronic locks because she has these electromagnetic powers, and she can generate energy, and she can copy any energy signature that she's come in contact with. Yeah, because she has a fantastic memory as well. So she's been using this power to essentially be a hench girl, and what's expected of her has been getting progressively worse and worse and worse. And she's afraid to leave, and she's afraid to stay. And all she can think about is herself, and she's panicking. And when she has a panic attack, there's this whole thing where her powers start to go out of control, and everything within her electromagnetic field around herself just starts going haywire. And so she's got all this turmoil inside herself. So when she gets this latest job that the book starts off with from her boss, he wants her to level up what she's been doing and actually kill someone.
Oh,
and
that's serious.
Then she can't do it anymore. She's scared enough to get started and actually knock the guy out, and she thought she killed him. And she felt so terrible about this, and she realized that she was being turned into something that she didn't want to be. And then she decided then to stop and completely change her life, and she had to come up with something to hang this new life on. And the last person she could remember looking out for her was her mother. And her mother had prayed. She had remembered her mother said, "Jesus, save my baby." So Penance starts off this book now thinking, okay, last person who ever wanted what was best for me said that Jesus should save me. And so she clings to that. She has no idea what it means, but she's going to cling to that and just leave and go where that takes her.
Oh, it's really great.
That's her personal journey. You know, I didn't really want to do technically a Christian book, but if I stick to what Penance herself is thinking and feeling and believing and growing in, then that's her personal journey. I can read that. I can't really read a lot of Christian fiction. It's a slog, man. It's a slog.
I know we've chatted about this quite a bit. I'm a Christian, and I know you are too. But the problem with a lot of Christian-based entertainment is that, I mean, let's face it, most of it is pretty bad.
Yeah, I think that the creators feel too much pressure to keep it clean and shiny.
Yeah,
and it's not.
No.
You know, that's not authentic. That's not how things go. So it's okay for every other religion in the world to have like a spiritual arc in their book. So I wrote it in a way that I would enjoy reading it no matter what religion it ended up being. Of course, I went with the one that I know.
Exactly. Yeah, I feel the same way. I mean, with Paragon Prime, with my project, I'm not, explicitly trying to tell a Christian story, but the character is Christian, and and I don't shy away from depicting that in the story at all. But at the same time, though, I see a lot of things now that's all they focus on, and just most Christian entertainment is not very well done. There's no production value. They cut corners in so many things.
On one hand, I can kind of understand the point, and it's actually really popular, not just in Christian circles, but in any identity group. They think that you have to be all 100% for every single effort by anybody else in that identity group. And they forget that it has to have merit as well. if it's not good, then take the creator aside and privately tell them it could be better. You can't release less than your best.
Yeah.
Because how are you representing your group if it's just you're existing? If you're not representing your group well, if you're not doing it with excellence, then you're not doing yourself or anybody else any favors.
Oh no. I mean, there's very few really solid Christian themed entertainment out there. There's a couple of things I've seen that are well done, but most of it is not, and that's really, really sad.
Yeah, and on one hand, some of it they feel like everything has to be supported, and God will just bless the rest. And on the other hand, people don't know what to invest in. Some of the things that get invested in are not that good, and some of the things that really could have been excellent if only they'd had a little bit more money. They just don't get the funding they need. And I think we all need to have more discernment and really push ourselves to have good taste, to know what's going to work.
Yeah. So
and support it. Yeah.
I've heard you say this a couple of times, but like for me, I believe that my creativity is a gift from God, right? That's what I believe.
Right.
God gave me this gift and I'm expressing it and trying to use it, but you seem to think that some Christians think that creativity is a sin, or...
I've seen some weird stuff. I mean, I'm kind of out in the country right now, and we're in the buckle of the Bible Belt and all that. And when I was growing up, I had some friends. One girl would invite me to her church. It seemed like a nice enough place, except there was a lot of gossip going on. And anytime anybody stepped a toe out of line in the Christian music scene, and I knew that if somebody was not acting Christian enough, they would get talked about. And so I didn't really like that church because I really like to read sci-fi and fantasy.
Oh,
So my friend kept trying to get me to come back to her church. And she's like, well, there's going to be this thing where we get rid of worldly items. And I'm like, no, I'm not getting rid of any of my stuff for your church. It's not going to happen ever.
So was it going to have like a bonfire or something?
Yes, literally.
Ooh, wow.
And she's like, well, I have this jewelry box. It's got fairies on it. And I'm like, well, I have one that has kittens on it. And she's like, you want to trade so I don't have to burn it? And I'm like, sure, next time I see you. But by the time I saw her, she'd already burnt the thing. Like, these people are serious.
Yeah.
Really? I'm not throwing art in a fire. But yeah, that made a huge impression on me when I was really little.
Yeah.
And I have been extremely wary ever since, because I'm not just a writer, I'm also an artist, and I make things. I can't stop myself from making things, and I imagine things. And I'm not going to stop my imagination at one point and go, oh, this church isn't going to like it, or oh, this extremely proper religious person isn't going to approve of me. It's not their business, and I'm allowed to create outside the bounds of these small cultural rules. Individual churches have their own small culture, and if you don't fit in, then you just don't.
I had some of that happen when I was younger. I remember one time I had brought a sci-fi novel to read during my recess break when I was in middle school, and I remember reading it. I started to read it. I was just sitting by myself reading the sci-fi book, and then a teacher saw me reading it and took it away. Like, oh, we don't allow this demonic stuff in our school. I'm like, what? So like, I could never bring comics to school. I could never to read. I could, Yeah,
and I have a friend who's an adult. She's a grown woman. She draws a comic. She draws in a manga style on her tablet. So, she had just finished running the sound table at her church, and she sat down in a pew and was drawing. And somebody came up and said, tried convincing her that that style of art was demonic.
Mm.
And
Wow.
okay, at this point, people are throwing around the term demonic, meaning anything, really.
Yeah.
And people have no real discernment. They haven't put any real thought in this. They haven't reasoned out what their positions are. They're just, going on their knee-jerk reaction. They can't even argue why they think that. It's just they think like God said, "Hey, it's demonic. Better tell that person."
Mm-hmm.
Like seriously, he wouldn't have confronted the person directly if he was going to be speaking out against it anyhow. People think that just whatever comes in their mind must be from God. That's not how it works. You have to think things through.
All right. So, tell us a little bit about like your character Penance. How old is this character still? Is she a teenager, right?
Yeah, she says in the book that she's not quite 17, so she's kind of fudged her age a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And she's been through a lot in her life, and she has had a lot of time by herself to think things over, but she doesn't have like a really high opinion of herself.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes she's very fatalistic, and other times she's determined that she's not done yet. Like she's very volatile in her emotions and her development, and that's how her version of being a teenager is. But her idea of rebelling is rebelling against evil, so she's got to be going towards good at least.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
So I've tried to avoid some of the annoying teenage tropes.
So there's not a lot of angst. There's not too much annoying angst.
Yeah. She's not an angsty person.
Uh-huh.
If you have a really rotten life and you spend a lot of time being depressed about it, pretty soon you don't survive very long like that.
Now, I'm guessing I assume, with any good story, the character has an arc, so she's not the same person at the end of the book, right?
Right.
Right. She's grown as a character. She's gained confidence and all of that stuff, right?
Yeah, she's really pushing herself to be a better person at all times. Whatever she can think of, she'll just throw that at the wall, see if it sticks.
Yeah.
And a big part of her development is also kind of her co-lead, who is an alien super soldier named Kale. And some of the book is from his point of view as well.
Yeah. So that's like her Obi-Wan?
Not exactly.
No?
She's a whole lot annoyed with him to start with, because he has decided to invade her planet just when she's trying to get on the good side of the good guys, and he's making things terribly inconvenient.
Oh, so he's the villain, right? Oh.
He's not the ultimate villain. Acid is a much worse person than Kale is. Kale has great reasons for coming to invade Earth.
Okay, got it.
They are fantastic reasons. Penance knows nothing about them. She just wants him to go home. So,
but he ends up being an ally?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. So you got aliens and cyborgs, and that sounds really, really awesome. I didn't know that it had all that other cool stuff, aliens and cyborgs and stuff like that. That's
a lot of stuff I don't say like straight out. Like I don't call Tech a cyborg, but she has a computer in her brain, and she has fantastic aim, and she can analyze a whole lot of things at once.
So what are her powers?
So exactly. Which one?
Penance.
Penance. All right, I worked this out very carefully. She has a kind of superconductor oil in her skin that her skin secretes. It's not like obvious to look at her, but so when she generates an electromagnetic field, she can create plasma flames or sparks or lightning, just any kind of electrical phenomena. And it won't cook her because she has this essentially a superconductor film that slides the electricity right off of her.
Can she fly?
Now, someone else in this book can. He can use a very similar power to do this, a little bit like Magneto, but Penance has not that hasn't even occurred to her yet. She's going to think it's so cool.
I already assumed that later on in either in this first book or in book 2 or 3, she's going to learn how to do that.
Yeah, the way I have this envisioned is much more terrifying than just flying. And I don't think she can do it when there's like anybody around. Because essentially she can be suspended in a lightning bolt and just keep driving forward by shoving more lightning ahead and then following it.
Oh my gosh, that sounds so incredibly awesome. That is really cool. Really? Now, does this happen in book 1?
So she needs a very safe and deserted landscape to do that.
Now, does this happen in book 1 or later on?
No, later on.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, because that sounds really cool.
She has to be so careful right now in book 1 because she's so close to people.
So she could ride lightning bolts.
Yeah, she can. She can also. She learns to generate a force field in this book because one of the things in the earliest chapters, when Kale comes over from his planet, he takes an entire stadium of people hostage, and it's very simple for him because he just has his technical support guy put up a dome of plasma energy over the entire thing. So everybody has to stay in until he can get his demands met. Penance is the only one who can get in because of her powers. She can copy the energy signature of the plasma dome and attract it.
And essentially go through it, right?
Yeah. So she can get a bolt of energy to come shooting at her off that dome, and she can grab onto it, or it can grab onto her and carry her all the way back and through it.
Wow. I love the way you really thought out how her powers work and you know how it works around, you know, with her environment. It's just really, really cool stuff. Wow. Okay. I'm very impressed. It's really awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
My dad's an electrician.
Okay, well, yeah, that makes sense.
I know how to install outlets, and electricity is just so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I really like things like Tesla coils, and ball lightning and St. Elmo's fire and all the weird electrical phenomena. Aurora borealis, electrical magnetic phenomena is just amazing, and I wish I understood it.
So
far I can just sort of understand it and get it plausible.
So I assume that chapter, that part of the book, she ends up saving everyone at the dome, right?
She doesn't exactly escape unscathed, but it's a pretty exciting chapter.
Yeah, I love moments like that in hero stories where, you know, the hero's saving people. And I hope that that's not the only scene like that in the book. I hope there's a lot more. Because I'm kind of really into, like, I'm probably gonna buy it off. Is it on Amazon? Right, I can buy it on Amazon. Great.
So the ebook is on Amazon. You should be able to find it there, and you can also go to silverempire.org. It's .org, not .com, and find the other versions. There may still be a delay going on with the printing. Hoping to see that resolved really soon now. But yeah, it's killing me. It's my first book. I want to hold it.
Yeah, I'm a physical guy. Like, you know, ebooks, they don't really do it for me. I like holding it in my hand.
Yeah.
And reading it and feeling the pages as I turn them, you know, that's just, you know. But yeah, it sounds great. I mean, if there is going to be a physical printed copy, I'm probably going to wait for that, and then I'll probably buy it.
I hope it'll be fixed soon.
Yeah, sounds awesome. Penance sounds like a really great concept. I didn't know much about it until you told me more about it now, and now I'm really interested in reading it. Like wow. So how is, you know, I want to talk about a little bit about your other project, SoulBound. How is that going?
Well, again, last year was interesting, and I ended up having to get uh, issue 2 reprinted because I messed up. I started off my comic, I had issue 1, it's done. Issue 2, I had a couple pages left over of space. So I said, my artist, Mia Pierce, she has these characters and a comic that she's going to come out with sometime that she's going to be working on. And it would be so cool if I made my comic, if I formatted it like a flip book. So on one side, or you start reading it from the front and you get through with my story, and then you flip it over.
Yeah, I noticed that because I do have your issue.
She gets the
yeah.
So she got like the back cover, like it's the front cover of the book.
Yeah.
Front cover of her book. Goodness. And then the next few pages are her story. I got those out of order. So
really?
Yes.
Oh.
I was really tired when I finalized it, and I thought it must be right. And then, like at 2 a.m. the next morning, I woke up like, but what if I had it wrong?
Mm-hmm.
And then I thought, no, that's crazy. And then I forgot about it by official morning. So, yeah, I'm gonna kick myself forever.
For those of you who don't know, SoulBound is a comic that Paula Richey is doing. It's kind of a fantasy, kind of Alice in Wonderland, Wizard of Oz, kind of Chronicles of Narnia kind of vibe to it.
Yeah.
You know? It's about this young girl who gets teleported to this fantasy world. And I read the first 2 issues, and I'm looking forward to reading more of it. So tell us a little bit about the character in that, and what your influences were. I mean, did I mention the right ones?
Let's see. I'm actually not so into Alice in Wonderland, but I do love a second world story. I really love like a lot of Andre Norton's Witch World stories. They started off with the main character. He ended up in this other world, and it was not just fantasy, but there was like magic tech and really bizarre cultures and all sorts of really amazing, interesting stuff going on in the witch world. And so that was I would say that's my primary inspiration for The Other Realm. So The Other Realm is this world where I'm setting almost all my stories, the ones that aren't superhero stories, in different eras of The Other Realm. This is like one of the very earliest eras in The Other Realm. That's this mythical fantasy era. And so Becca Albright is a college student who ends up in this world. She starts off in trouble, and it just keeps getting worse. I just keep throwing stuff at her. It's very cruel of me. And she meets Torin, who is a native of this world, so that's good. But they have met in a dungeon, and there's an insane monster outside, and a very frightening, very powerful sorceress as well. So that's less good. And so the first thing they have to do when they meet is escape. So an escape room is always great for first date.
Yeah. And they can't understand each other.
Right.
Because he speaks a different language. Yeah.
Yeah. So she speaks normal modern English, and Torin is speaking a variant of Latin, like ancient Latin. And so there's a language barrier going on, but that's going to be resolved in book 3, which is what we're working on now. I've got the first few pages of it that I'm coloring back from Mia. The script is done. Mia's got it, but her life just got really busy just now, and I'm so excited for her. But
was she having a baby?
Yes. Okay. So
that's awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah, so major life changes.
Yeah.
And so she emails me and goes, "Are you? It's gonna be a while before I get, back up to speed on it." And I said, "I've done this. I know exactly what it's like. You're not gonna have a brain for a while. It'll be fine. Just do what you got to do." And anyway, with various printing delays. It's like there's printing delays across the board. I had book 1 and 2 printed on newsprint as part of Alterna's printing partnership program, which I'm really happy with them. And it's really good to be able to hold such a classic version of a comic.
Yeah.
Growing up, all my comics were newsprint, and they feel warm, and they smell good, and they're a much more tactile, nice experience than the slick paper. And also, it's really affordable. But I noticed that he put that on hiatus for a while, so it'll be fine, actually. We're just going to have a delay for a bit this year, and we'll catch up when we catch up.
Yeah.
It must be meant to be, because nothing is really lining up to have it printed in a hurry. On the other hand, I can finish scripting out the rest of the issues.
There you go. You got time to do that.
Oh, yeah. You can always script.
Always, yeah. So I want to talk about Torin is if I remember, I don't have the book in front of me right now, but he's a satyr or a pan or something, right?
Actually, he's a perfectly normal human.
Why do I remember him having goat legs? I don't know where that came from.
No. You might be thinking of the big monster. You might be thinking of that guy. Yeah. He was very much a beast. But this is such a fantastic page. Let's see. Hang on.
Oh, yeah.
So, here's Torin saving the girl.
Well, he's got elf ears, though, I think. Yeah, that's why. I mean, he has elf ears. So.
Yeah. But the sorceress who's captured him is kind of a mad scientist type, and she created the monster that he's fighting on that page. And she's going to turn Torin into one as well.
By the way, what nightmare did you have to come up with that monster? Seriously.
This was a collaboration between me and Mia, and I explained what was going on with his character, and she sent me back that, and I'm like, go for it.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That is
Mia's so good at monsters.
That is such a frightening monster. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, it's kind of like a skinwalker or a
Wendigo.
Oh, Wendigo, yeah. Yeah, you have it. He has Torin has had a lot of weird potions and highly unconventional surgeries in extremely unsanitary conditions performed on him. And he's really excited to get out of there.
Cool. Well, I'm looking forward to issue 3 now. Are you gonna collect them in some kind of omnibus graphic novel kind of thing?
Oh yeah. There's 10 issues planned for the series. They're all outlined. I know what goes on in each one. I just need to finish the scripts and, of course, get all the art done.
What's really cool is that you have a deal with Brainy Pixel. They're distributing your comic on their website, which is I think is really cool too. You know?
Yeah. They have the EPUB version. So yeah, you can go to Brainy Pixel site and find it there, as well as order from my site, otherrealmstudio.com. And I think that it's really good to spread out the places that your work is available, so that more people have a chance to see it. Oh yes, but you were asking about the collected edition. Once I have all 10 issues together, then I want to go back, because by then I'm going to be so fantastic at colors, and touch up all the color throughout the whole thing, optimize it for the glossy paper. There's a limit to how many pages you can do in a newsprint comic, and I want to bundle the whole thing together and make this ultra deluxe edition of the whole thing.
Yeah, like behind the scenes art and everything too,
Yeah, well, by then with 10 issues, that's going to be a lot of pages. So it might be a couple of books.
Yeah, it might be like 2 volumes, maybe like five issues each book, probably. But yeah.
Yeah. And also another thing that I'm working on is like a light novel, because art takes a while. And it would
Yeah.
be really good to have the entire story, in just like a novel format. And I can do like some alternate illustrations for it as well. And that I've been kind of kicking it around. I'm trying to see how would I write the novelization of the graphic novel that does not quite exist yet, but almost does.
Yeah, that sounds challenging.
Yeah, but on the other hand, I do know everything that happens, and then once I get rolling on it, more stuff will happen, as I found out with my first novel. And the only thing I need to worry about is writing so much into the light novel that I'll need to include more in the comics,
The comic.
and I might have to expand the page count, and they might start getting thicker and thicker, kind of like every book in the Harry Potter series just kept getting bigger and
Yeah.
bigger.
Yeah, that's okay. So I've read a lot of comics, independent, crowdfunded stuff. And one issue that I've seen with some of the comics that I've read is that the story starts out good, the pacing is really, really well done, but eventually it feels rushed. Like, oh, there should have been like 4 more pages here
Mm-hmm.
because the ending just kind of like whizzed by. My advice, well, I mean, what I like to see more of is whatever page count it is to make the story work, do it, no matter how much it is. You know,
Yeah.
if you can't, I don't know, if you just can't do it in the amount of pages you have, add more pages. Just do it. I mean, I read First Man recently, and it's pretty good. It's really funny. It's a fun book. It made me laugh a lot. But then at the end, it's just like, oh, and then the end.
Oh,
Like I needed a little bit more. The climax felt really rushed to me.
yeah.
So I am very sensitive to pacing when it comes to movies, books, comics, whatever it may be, TV shows. If the pacing feels off, I feel it like, this doesn't feel right to me,
Yeah. I mean,
Uh,
with SoulBound, Mia and I are both working on it. Like I tell her, yeah, she can make changes if she feels like it serves the story better. And
mhm.
in the first few pages that she sent back to me already, she's made one change where she added another panel in, and of course, it was the perfect thing to do. It's
Yeah.
obvious now. But her sequential art is so much better than mine, and I'm just so grateful to have Mia there because she's as invested as I am in it by now, which is incredible. And she will not give less than excellence. She's really in there for the book, for the story, and I would love to have her just do the entire series. It'll look so good. The art is so consistent. I'm just Mia's biggest fan. It's amazing what she does.
So who do you edit the book, or does she do it?
Well, for issues 1 and 2, I wrote out the script. I went back and forth with it with Mia, and she drew alternate versions of each panel. And we went back and forth for a while and planned out each one. So most issues with the pacing, with the panels, with the composition and everything, most of that gets worked out at the thumbnail stage.
Mhm.
And then she draws it, and then I get to see it from there. So we've both been involved with it for a long time since then. And also we had Wes Loker, who did the lettering and the formatting. So he handled like the technical aspects as well as the lettering. Well, he got known as a letterer, but he's actually a fantastic comic creator too.
Mhm.
And then he had to concentrate more on his own books. So now Mia and I are trying to take over where he left off for book 3. He's really left a giant void in our lives. So when you see the next book with Paula Richey and Mia Pierce on the front and no Wes Loker, it's not because he got demoted. He just promoted himself, and he's got his own books to worry about.
Yeah, of course, of course.
His book. Look up Wes Loker and Unit 44, which is a fantastically funny story about all the alien junk from Area 51 was put in a storage unit, which then got auctioned off.
Yeah, I think I saw that. I
Yeah.
one time went to the alternate Comics website. I think I saw that comic. Okay.
Yeah. So one of the reasons why I wanted Wes to do the lettering and help out was because he knew everything that Alterna needed, because he'd already done his own comic through them.
That all sounds great. So you're working on book 3, and then I think you have some other ideas for stuff in the future, something about a pirate, a space pirate, right? I remember seeing that.
Yeah, so Asha is a story about the lone survivor of a failed research colony on a hostile planet that will kill anything that doesn't belong on that planet. Well, the colony didn't realize this. But Asha is the only survivor, and she's grown up there alone since she was 5 years old. And now, finally, after 15 years, the emergency beacon has finally attracted a salvage ship, and they come just expecting to gather up stuff from the colony and sell it off somewhere. But they find Asha as well. And also, it turns out that the salvage ship has run afoul of some space pirates that follow them to the planet, and mayhem ensues. And
I'm guessing that's in the early stages.
Yeah, it's my solo project. So Mia's the one who's done all the sequential art for SoulBound, the thumbnails, the pencils, the line art, and then I do the colors because she's done all the stuff that's put it together on the page. And I've learned so much, and I wanted to try it out with my own story and do my own art for it as well. Asha is going to be my solo project. I plan on doing everything from the layout to the pencils and inks and colors and lettering. The lettering is terrifying. I will get over that and accomplish it and try and just bring this entire project as closely as I can to the way I see it in my head into reality. And we'll see how that goes. I thought it was going to be just a short one-shot, but Asha is a very pushy character. She tends to want a bigger story. So I don't know how many pages it's going to end up being, and therefore I have no clue how long it's going to be.
It's funny how these characters you create can take a life of their own, right? Like
she's so pushy.
They demand they demand more than what you originally wanted for them. Like, oh well, this character's grown beyond anything that I could imagine now, so I got to do more. I know how that feels. Yeah, I know how that feels. Now that art in the back, did you do that?
Yes.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
So this is strangely, I did not color this. David McConaughey of Fish Without Feet Graphics colored this for me a really, really long time ago. This was an actual physical pen and ink piece that I did. The original's like 12 inches wide.
So he blew it up?
Yeah. Well, I blew it up for this, and it's also the background of my computer screen. I see it, and I put it up where I see it absolutely everywhere, because this is the other realm. You can see there's Chaos, my Chaos unicorn. He's going to be doing his chaotic thing in SoulBound. And also in my first novel that did not see anybody else, that did not see the light of day, he was in that one too.
Okay.
When he's older.
And that's
I will
a character.
rework that thing, and when it is acceptable,
gotcha.
we will bring that back into the light. But not now.
And that's a character that we haven't met yet, right?
Right. This is Diane, who moved to a cursed mountain with her father, and they kind of had an inversion of not an inversion, more of a retelling of the Beauty and the Beast story. It's a really bad idea to shoot deer on a cursed mountain. She was just trying to survive.
Right. Wow.
And
so are any of these characters going to be in book 3?
Diane has her own era to be in, so she's not going to be featured
in book 3. I understand.
But this guy is deathless, so he can appear in all of them.
All right.
I don't know if he will. There's an invisible castle here, semi-visible castle. Diane goes there.
The art looks amazing. It's really, really,
Thank you.
really, really good.
And
One last thing I want to talk about
oh yeah,
is something that I'm really excited about is your effort to kind of like have this animation movement that you've been trying to do for a while now.
yes.
And I think that's really exciting. I haven't gone to the website in a while.
Oh
Um,
goodness. Yeah. I had a kind of a rough time over the last 6 months. Lots of uh, scary stuff happened, and I haven't been back there either. So I need to log back in. I need to start putting the links to the resources that I come across, and having a place, not just for animation, but for other stories that need more complex development. I want to make this place a good networking site for Christians to come together and really hone each other's skills and
yeah,
create bigger and better and more complex things
yeah.
together than they could apart.
Yeah. To be creative without the stigma of Christian creators, or Christian productions, without
Yeah.
that kind of like, well, this is sinful, this is bad, without any
Yeah.
of that. To just
Well,
be,
you can't really network in church. That's not what church is for.
yeah,
That's why you're supposed to have external fellowship groups, but it's really hard to get rolling.
yeah,
And in the past, no one's really been close enough, like geographically close enough to actually meet up. So
hmm
I thought this would be a really good meeting place.
yeah. Oh, I know you're doing that. I know Brainy Pixel
Hmm.
is a big one in trying to do that same thing.
Yeah.
I've been to
Yeah,
his
it's
web.
amazing what Brainy Pixel has
Oh
done
yeah,
with
with the
with
Cubicans.
yeah, with getting the Cubekins and the
Yeah.
their other like their 3D
Yeah,
cartooning
that
and
one. There's also there's a couple of other projects on the website that are like animated series pitches that I want to see. I want to see made. I mean, this looks amazing. This kind of Fantastic
yeah.
Four sci-fi thing, and then there's this kind of Ben 10
Hmm.
kind of idea with the Divine Nine. I think it was called. You know.
Yeah, he's got so much he's got so much going on, and I think that he's one of the few who he not only has a vision and can carry it out, but
Yeah.
he's also not going to let it go until it's excellent.
Yeah. Have you read his Chronicles of Faith David comic? Oh my
Not yet.
gosh, it's so good. It's
I
really
need to.
good. It's amazing.
Yeah, I've got a to be read
Yeah.
pile like a mile high, a
And I
virtual mile
and I
since we're all
keep
equal.
I'm part of his Patreon. I keep on telling him, you need to come out with this physically. I want this comic. I mean I read it digitally, but I
Yeah,
want it. I want
yeah,
to print it. I want to print a copy of it because it's gorgeous. The art is amazing. Oh, and David is my favorite biblical figure, so
hmm
you know.
yeah, and he's gathering up like this curated collection of other creators' comics and possibly other works. I haven't checked what's on the site like lately.
Oh, I bought quite a few of
Yeah,
the comics that he has on there. I bought Tales of Tenant, Chronicles of David. I bought The Watcher is also one that I bought from his website. He's doing really good stuff, and I want to see him get the money he needs to make some of these animated projects. Um,
yeah, I would really love for SoulBound to be an animated series.
yes,
I've been
yes,
Um, I started off getting the thumbnails together for like the first scene. There was something really weird that happened um, when I was actually feeling really anxious about, what would I do with my comic series? Because I kept wanting it to be an animated series. I knew that more people would see it if it was animated, um, and it would look so good. The episodic style of
hmm
the story it is would just go really well as a TV series. And I was thinking about that, and I was sitting in my husband's chair in front of the TV and kind of half dozing because I'd been stressed for a long time. It happens, and and all of a sudden I had this sort of a half of a dream, like I knew I was dreaming, but it's like I looked up at the TV And there is the entire intro to my animated series. I saw my series, and it was so I'm getting teary.
Surreal?
It was wild. It was like I looked up there, like I was half dreaming. I looked up there, and like it was perfectly silent, and I saw the whole beginning of the series, like the first 5 minutes, like the intro, what happens, like in the very beginning when Becca's mom is escaping from this monster. Everything that happens in the time of this page, right? So she's running through the forest. I saw, and the forest was on fire, and I saw like these gleaming eyes in the woods, and I'm like, there was so much more than that was in the panels. And it culminates with her like running up to the edge of the cliff. I saw like from the camera angles and everything.
Wow.
It was like watching it.
And music and sound effects and all of that?
No, perfectly silent.
Oh, perfectly silent. Okay.
Yeah. And then I woke up. I looked up at the TV, which had been off the entire time. And I said, what was that? And so I realized I'm not going to worry. This is all in God's hands, as everything is.
Of course. Yeah.
And if he wants an animated series, then there will be one.
Well,
I've already seen like the first few minutes of it.
Yeah, I've tweeted about this a lot, but we have Antonio Sabato Jr. with Conflict Studios, and I keep, I think he's our best hope for that kind of thing. I think he's the best hope for Brainy Pixel. I think he's the best hope for SoulBound animated series. I think he's the best bet for a Pentagon Prime animated series.
Yeah, I mean, it's really early to tell. And, again, we have to go into things with discernment. We have to see, how is he going to do things? I mean, I'm really interested to see what his process is for getting these projects made.
Yeah, he seems to be a viable alternative to the sinful Hollywood right now. Everything that I've seen, everything that I've read on the website, it all like seems legit and something that I want to be a part of. I mean, actually, he's not too far away from where I live. I mean, it's in Tampa, I think. I'm in Orlando, so
yeah, I saw he was in Florida.
Yeah, which is
in the northern part of Florida. I thought.
Yeah, which is really cool, And I go to his website and I see that he has he wants to do fantasy, fantasy adventure and animation, and SoulBound is both of those things. So
yes, it would be fantastic, and I would not let it. I would not let it be one of these subpar things. No. I would want some creative control, not to be a prima donna about it, but I would want to know everything about the process and learn what I personally can do to improve it. I can't put it out unless it's excellent. And I just need to know, would I be allowed to do that? If so, sign me up. That's all I want to know from you. Also, I saw that Kevin Sorbo, Hercules, from the TV series, he also has a studio that he's working on.
Really? I didn't. Yes. Okay, that's great. So there's more people. That's awesome.
Yeah. So, oh goodness, what was it? Was it Sorbo Family Studios or something like that? Anyway, I'm sure you can look up Kevin Sorbo and see what he's been up to. Yeah. But I saw a tweet about it, and
when I know he's going to be in the movie that they're doing at Conflicts. I can't remember the name of it right now, but he's going to be in that movie. I know that.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they're all going to be working together and possibly pooling resources.
Would it be great if he got Kevin Sorbo to do a voice for one of your characters?
Yes, actually.
Pretty awesome.
I kind of sort of have him in mind.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah. He hadn't shown up yet in the series, but I actually kind of have some fan casting going on. And I kind of want Dean Cain to do Becca's dad's voice. and that would be really awesome. It would be just like a small cameo,
Yeah.
but it'd be at the very beginning, and it would be really awesome.
That would be awesome. Yeah. I mean, he was Superman, so
Yeah, he was my favorite Superman. Okay,
yeah.
well, I can't say favorite Superman, but he was like tied with Christopher Reeve.
He was good. He was really, really
Yeah.
good. Yeah. I people tend to forget about him, even me. I tend to forget that he played Superman, but I remember seeing that show, and I remember thinking he was a great Superman. So
Yeah. He reminded me of one of my brothers so much, which is kind of funny. Just kind of unflappable and good natured, and like my brother James, he would totally handle being Superman. He would be so cool with it. He would be so normal.
All right. Well, I think we're good. Yeah, looking forward to as soon as Penance becomes available to physically, where I can actually like buy the book and have it sent to me, and I can sit on my bed and read it and stuff.
Yeah.
It sounds incredible. I want to read this first book, and I want you to do the trilogy. I want that to happen too.
So do I, man.
I want that because it's their whole riding lightning thing. I'm like, whoa, that's the coolest thing ever.
Yeah. So Penance has some great tricks that she has in her. Well, maybe not upper sleeves, but that she can do. Like one of her party trick level things is she can microwave popcorn between her hands
or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm interested. I'm really interested in seeing her hero's journey. I'm the hero geek. So you give me a good hero who grows as a character and learns to become truly selfless, then I'm all in on that, like completely. I mean, I am a geek about that, obviously. And it sounds like Penance is exactly that. And I want to experience that story. So hopefully soon I'll be able to buy the book. Because I don't have a tablet right now, so I can't really read the ebook version anyway.
Yeah. I can't stand reading on my phone.
No. It's not.
That's a little too far removed from a book.
Yeah, I can't do that. But it sounds incredible. Now, do you ever plan to do a superhero comic?
I don't know. Unless I end up adapting Penance's arc to a comic.
I would be all over that if you did that. Seriously, like, yes, make that happen.
Yeah. Since she is in a shared universe, it might be a little more complicated to get it done. But, it's something that I definitely want to try. It's just so hard because I didn't even get to tell you half the ideas of different stories I have. There's more stuff in here. And
well, maybe, I would love to hear about it, but maybe after I end the recording, you can tell me a little bit more about it. But yeah, that's all we have for today. I'd like to thank Paula Richey for coming on HEROGEEK Presents, where we talk all things heroic, and I'm really looking forward to her book when I get it, and the rest of the issues of SoulBound when that comes out, and all collected and stuff. I mean, I'm probably going to end up buying it in individual issues and then buying the collection later on because I like to support.
Yeah, the floppies are like limited editions.
Yeah, and I have issue 1 and 2, and I'm gonna get issue 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and so on and so on and so on. And then when you come out with the collected edition, I'm gonna get that too. So
yeah, it's gonna look so good.
Yeah, it looks incredible. I like the style of the art a lot, and like what I noticed about what you're doing with the art, what your artist is doing with the art, is that it does have that animated series look, just like Paragon Prime does. I kind of wanted that look.
Yeah.
For the
like
comic.
Yours is a lot like the Batman animated series, Superman animated series, and mine's kind of leaning a little bit more towards
Avatar, Last Airbender.
A bit more like Avatar, yeah. And I love that show.
I love that show too.
And
bad.
the way Mia draws has just so much life and so much expression in it.
It's funny
hard
still.
not to think of it as anime.
It's funny because I had bought Avatar on DVD, like the whole series, right? So I had it on DVD. I have it on DVD, and then I was at Target one day and I saw that they had it on Blu-ray. I'm like, I already have this show on DVD, but it's on Blu-ray. So I bought it on Blu-ray, and I just gave the DVD to my nephew. So yeah.
Well, that's excellent. You are passing on the torch.
Mm-hmm. It's a great show. Anyway, that's all we have time for today. But tune in for the next episode of HEROGEEK Presents, where I'll be featuring another creator talking about their work. All right. Later.
All right. Thanks so much for having me.
Bye.
Bye.